Welcome back, folks. This is Swab here with you. We're continuing our playthrough of Veilwraith. Last time we managed to capture 2 keys, and we have 3 more keys to find and the Goblin King. We're going to see how we do. We end at the top of our round, so we're going to dive right into it in just 1 second. I do want to say, of course, that we are playing on Tabletopia. This is the game Veilwraith. It is designed by Tristan Hall, and let's dive right in. We have 2 keys. We have a healer in the threat deck, in the threat row, and we are going to see what our new threat will be. Hobgoblin. 2 fight only to defeat them. He's going to do 1 spirit damage to us every turn that he sticks around, and he has a 1 plate ability. We have to immediately shuffle our discard pile into our deck. There's some prizes that are sitting here, so now they're going to get shuffled into our memory deck, and potentially, as you draw memories, they'll do bad things. So let's see if I can just flip that whole deck. And we'll add this to this deck. And now we will shuffle the deck. Alright. So there's now negative memories in here that are going to be useless to us. After we play a threat, we are going to draw a memory. A memory of a veil. A 2 explore this gains us, which will be excellent for when we have keys coming out. Alright, let's see what we can deal with this round. Well, why don't we get rid of this Hobgoblin right away? He only takes 2 fight to destroy. We have 2 fight sitting here naturally, so we're going to use this card. It's going to go down to the bottom of our ability row, and that's the 2 damage that we needed to defeat the Hobgoblin. We are sitting right now at 4 influence, and we need 5 to deal with the healer. So why don't we, as our tilt the influence to add a token to there. So now next round we'll have 5 influence, which will be enough to remove the healer. Before the spirit phase, or the healer will do the damage to us, I'm going to play Memories of Cold. And Memories of Cold, if you might remember from last time, ignores a spirit cost 1 threat this round. So there's our spirit cost 1, and so we negate that and we take 0 spirit damage this round. And at the end of the round we will write everything, and now we'll see what the new threat's going to be. Oh, look at this! It's the 3rd key, the Key of Valor. 7 explore to get this key, and it's going to help us with boosting our spirit and give us more actions. Let's find out what memory we get this round. Ooh, the Memory of Might. This will be a +1 fight ability. Let's get rid of this healer. We appreciated the healer sticking with us, but we need to get rid of it. So we will use our heal ability, 3 plus our 2 power tokens to make 5. Moves the other ones up the row, and the healer is now discarded. And don't forget, we had a 1 defeat ability. We've defeated it, so we're actually going to gain a spirit. We've influenced it enough to help it move on, and now it in turn helps us. To get this key, we're going to need to take quite a bit of work. Right now we just have the 1 explore. We could flip this key to gain another explore token, but I hate to flip a key when I haven't tilted it yet. So for our tilt, we'll tilt our explore to add a token to it to help us when we get there. In the spirit phase, there are no spirit threat to us, so we don't take any spirit damage, and we reset and find out what's going to come next. Another enforcer. He'll be doing 1 spirit damage to us each round, and he has the grapple ability. He will remove a power token off our fight action. There's no power tokens on the fight action, so his grapple is meaningless. We do have Memory of Might, which does 1 fight, but that won't be enough combined with the 2 base fight to deal with that. More Explore. We have a lot of Explore now. 2 Memories of Veil, both giving us 2 Explore each. We need 7 to get that key, and remember we really want keys. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have enough to do that now. We're going to discard both the Memory of Veil cards to gain 4 Explore combined. And to use this card, there's 4 Explore plus 3 is 7, which gains us the Key of Valor. We now have 3 out of the 5 keys we need to win this. These both go away. And everything shifts on the ability track. We are so close to defeating that fighter. Now that this is at a 3 fight, he's got 4. We have the Memory of Might. I think this might be time for us to flip our first key. The Key of Power. We can oh no, that's flipped key in a fight. Well, that would be useful too. I could just flip it instead of spending this card. We'll think about it. Instead, why don't we tilt the Key of Sight, and that's going to give us an extra action. So we tilt the Key of Sight, lets us do a second use. So we will use our fight for our 3, plus 1 for our Memory of Might. That does the 4 that we need to do to our Enforcer. Enforcer is gone, and everything shuffles. 2 out of our 3 keys that we own have now been tilted. We can eventually start flipping those. We still have a tilt ability on our action row, so why don't we tilt Influence, gain a power token. And during the spirit phase there are no threats here, so our spirit stays at 17, and we will reset and find out what the new threat will be. Another Enforcer. He has 3 influence, and he is immediately going to grapple us and pull a power token off our fight. There are again no power tokens on our fight, so we're okay. And we can deal with that quite quickly. He needs 3 influence. The influence is already sitting on the 3 space of the track, so we use it to do 3, influence the Enforcer to leave us alone, and he will move on. I forgot to draw a card. This should have happened before we dealt with the Enforcer. I'm now going to draw a memory card. And that would have given us extra influence. Okay. To prepare for when the next key comes out, why don't we tilt our Explorer to add another token to that. And at the end of during the spirit phase, there's nothing to do spirit damage to us. We reset and new round. Hobgoblin. 4 fight to deal with him, and when we play we have to shuffle our discard pile into our deck. So we do have a couple cards in here, not many. There's our discard pile shuffled in. And we cannot do that for this round. There's really not much of a way we could do that. Why don't we tilt this card to put a power token on it, and then let's use our Explore, not for its Explore action, but in order to draw a card, which is its secondary option. And a second Memory of Redemption. 2 in a row. Who would have thought? And now at the end of the round, we are going to take 1 spirit damage from the Hobgoblin, down to 16. We'll reset everything, and let's see what comes next. A Mystic. 5 influence this mystic and 2 each round. Ouch. Now it has its mystical ability. It's going to reveal threats to us until we reveal a key. Another mystic's going to come later. A healer's going to come later. Ooh, the Goblin King is coming. A Hobgoblin. A Goblin, and this has to be the key then. There's our Key of Love. Okay. Give me a second to get this all re-sorted here. And we'll give it a quick shuffle. And we'll add that back on the top. Alright, so the Mystics brought out our 4th key. It's only a 4 explore key to get, the Key of Love, and it helps us with influence and getting actions. Well, well, well. We need to... Really what we need to do is get rid of this Mystic, because it's going to hurt us the most, but I don't think it's worth... Well, we could just use some memory redemptions to deal with it. Let's do that. We are going to start by using our influence then. We will use it. It has a base of 2, 3, 4, and we'll discard the power token to make it 5. And that is enough to defeat the Mystic. And do we have any keys that let us get an extra action? Because we could also defeat the Hobgoblin this turn, because we have 3 plus the extra power is 1. Let's see, tilt it to use an additional available action. Alright, let's tilt the Key of Valor, which will give us the ability to now use our fight. We will use our fight and discard the power token on it to do 4 fight to the Hobgoblin and also remove it. And that shoves our Explore up to the top. We still have 1 tilt action available to us. We don't need to do it, but we don't want to waste it, so we will also tilt the Explore and add another power token to it. At the end of the round, there's no spirit damage to take, and we reset. And let's find out what our next threat is. Hopefully it's not the Goblin King. Well, I shouldn't have said anything. It's the Goblin King. So this is the big foe, the big bad. We must defeat the Goblin King in order to escape with our keys. We can leave him sitting in this row for a long time if we want to, though he's going to be doing 2 spirit damage to us every turn he hangs around, so we do want to get rid of him as soon as possible. This card has a unique thing where he has 6 influence you have to do to him, plus 6 fight. You don't do those in the same round, unless, well, you could if you play a card that lets you do an additional action. But we must do both of those things to him in order to defeat him. We only do that when there's a plus. You may see cards that will have an influence of 6 and a fight of 6, but you can pick one or the other, and the plus it tells you to do both. If you do one or the other, you just cover one of them with a power token or some way to remember that you've done one of those 2. So he's a big deal. We need to defeat him, and he is not going to make it easy for us. Alright, so we'll draw a card, and it won't go into our hand. It probably means bad things. It is the Pariah. Remember how we defeated the Pariah, and he had the Outcast ability where he's going to go into our discard pile? He's come back out, he does that, and now just discard. If drawn from your deck, discard this card. I don't know if it gets discarded into the discard pile of threats or back into your discard memory pile. I'm going to put it in the memory pile, just because I feel like making it hardest on myself. I should get some clarification on that, but let's make it as hard as possible. Let's add him back into our discard pile, so if we ever have to shuffle that back up, he'll come back out again, potentially. So no benefits, and the Goblin Kings come out. Oh boy. Well, let's grab the Key of Love. We need to grab keys, and we can't really get either of these things to 6 this turn, which is what we need to do to defeat the Goblin King. So let's use our Explore, and we're very fortunate that this key only takes 4, so it was at 3, We discard 1 power token for 4, and now we have a 4th key. We only need 1 more, folks, before we can find that portal home. Okay, so we did that, and now we need to boost something. I think it makes the most sense to boost influence, so we'll tilt it, add influence. So that's at space 3, plus 1 is 4. That's 5, 6. That will be enough. Do we? I think we do. Tilt to use an additional available action. Oh no, we can't. We've already tilted this card, so we can't now use that card. So next round we'll be able to do enough damage to the Goblin King to get rid of him. However, are kind of out of choices at this moment, so we're going to take 2 spirit damage from the Goblin King. He's that great big foe of this vignette. We're down to 14. It doesn't feel like much until you realize that 7 more turns of this guy sitting out here would kill us, and more threats are going to start piling out. I find in this game, if you don't deal with threats right away, they start to snowball, and as soon as you start to build more and more and more threats, you're going to quickly find yourself sinking. So you really need to clear the threats as fast as possible. Alrighty, let's see what's going to be coming out next. A Mystic. Reveal threats until I find a key, and then put it into play and shuffle the rest. A goblin. A goblin. Healer. No key yet. Another mystic. Another pariah. I didn't mind pariahs until they started clogging up my deck. So this is actually very handy to have a mystic come out right away, or come out like this, because that would have been the last key in the last card in the deck would have been the key. That would have been bad because there's very little time to grab it before you risk the Archfiend coming out, where he's gonna get shuffled back into the discard pile. So we're really on a tight timer once that discard pile runs out. We will flip that stack, we will shuffle that stack, and we're going to move that back where it belongs. Alright, so the Key of Light. The last thing we have to get. It's got 8 Explore, and we need to also kill the Goblin King. So we're getting down to the bitter end of this thing. Let's see if we can wrap this up. It's going to take a couple turns to wrap it up. So let's pull Memory card. Memory of Cold. This will be handy. This will help block some of that spirit damage we're going to take from the Mystic. So that'll be nice. Though we could clear the Mystic. No, we're probably better off to do some damage. See, we could use our influence now to get rid of the Mystic, but I'd rather use our influence plus our cards to do the influence damage to the Goblin King, because of how much damage he's doing to us every turn. And we can at least spend 1 turn ignoring the damage with Memory of Cold that's coming from the Mystic. So I think that's what our plan is going to be. Alrighty, so yeah, we are going to play Memory Redemption for 2 influence. We are going to use our influence 3, 4, 5, and spend our power token for 6. And I'm going to place it right. Yeah, that'll cover it. That covers the influence here. And we always have to do the 6 fight damage now to the Goblin King. We've really got to boost this Explore to get the key, but we really have to boost this Explorer or the fight to be able to get that 6 damage on the Goblin King. So let's tilt the fight to add another token. And before the Spirit Phase goes off, we're going to play Memory of Cold to stop the Mystic from doing any damage to us, which means we only take 2 damage from the Goblin King. So now we'll reset, and let's see what comes next. Hobgoblin. When played, shuffle your discard pile into your deck. Alright, and that is now done. And then we need to draw a card. And it is a Memory of Veil to explore. I really would like some fight. That's what we'd really like here. So right now we got 4 fight, and we need to get 6 fight to defeat the Goblin King. Let's see, with our cards here, we could do an additional action this turn. We could heal up by flipping this card over and gaining 1 health. In fact, let's do that. We're not really low on health, but it's still something we could do. That way it clears this card so we know what we've done. So, keys still count even though they're flipped, but I'm going to, and here I'll spin that around for us. Key of Valor. Flip the card to gain a spirit. And once a card is flipped, it's no longer usable, but it still counts as having been a key. So I'll flip it, and we will gain a health for that. Thank you. The key of Sight we can flip to gain an Explore, and the key of Power can flip to gain a Fight. None of those things are going to let us defeat the Goblin King this round, so what else could we do? We could clear the Hobgoblin easily, then that's going to send our fight right back down to the bottom. We could also... No, I think we're going to have to deal with the Hobgoblin. That's the only thing that I think that's super clearly easy to do. And I like the easy route, because that's who I am, and that's why sometimes I don't win every game I play. We're going to start off by using our fight, and that does enough damage to defeat the Hobgoblin. There we go. We now have tilt option available to us, and we could also flip or tilt the Key of Love to get a second use action if that was beneficial to us. This key is 8, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that's not enough. So really what we have a choice now is what we want to tilt in order to... Oh, do I need to give that +1 Explore though? Yes. So you can use multiple keys per turn. So the question comes down to, we could boost our Explore and gain an extra use this turn, and then gain that last key. And then it's done and dealt with, and it'll shove everything up and help the influence be a little bit stronger. I think we're going to do that. So first things first, we need to take the Key of Sight, and just for ease I'm going to flip it over here. And the Key of Sight we can flip to gain an Explore. So let's flip that card and we gain a +1 Explore. So let's put that here to remind ourselves that's +1 Explore. And then we're going to tilt the Key of Love to gain us an additional action. So now we can use an additional use. We've already used 1 use for fight. Let's use our second use. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, use this card here, 7, 8, which means that is enough to get us the Key of Light. This allows us to get an available action and also draw an extra memory card. So we got 3 keys that can still be used for things and 2 keys that we've used up. And finally, let's tilt our influence to put a power token on it. This round is going to be painful. We are going to take 3 spirit damage. We are down to 10. And we will write all of our ability cards. And let's see what our next threat might be. A 4-fight barbarian, and of course he has bruised when he's played. He removes a power token from your influence action, which we just put on there. Seems to be the more of the story that goes on here all the time. So now you can see that these threats start to really build up. We could be potentially losing 4 spirit this turn if we don't deal with some of these threats. Some of them might be a little difficult for us to deal with. This will help though. We'll ignore a spirit cost 1 threat this round, so you definitely will be playing that on whatever cards happen to still be living at the end of this round to hopefully deal with. Just taking a look at the cards we still have. Flip to gain influence and flip to gain a fight. Flipping to gain a fight would not be the worst. That would be 3 though, and we still need 4. At this point, none of these cards are strong enough to deal with what's going on. Let's use the Explore action. And we're going to use the Explore action to draw another memory card. A Memory of Honor. That will help. That extra influence will very much help. And we have used a card, so we have to tilt a card now. Let's tilt... Get rid of the Mystic. Yes. Or do we focus just on building up our fight? Yeah, no, there's no point in boosting our influence because we only need 4. It's out the 3 spot, and we could use Memory of Honor if we want to next turn to get rid of the Mystic that way. So let's boost our fight because we really got to get our fight up to defeat the king. Did we get our last key? We got all 5 keys. Once we get all 5 keys, immediately this portal should come into play. So my apologies. The portal comes into play. To defeat, we need to use the Vignette's Explore value. We cannot defeat the portal until the Goblin King is destroyed, because he's the major foe of this vignette. But then once we do, we need to have enough Explore to match the vignette, which is a 3 Explore, to escape and win. We don't need to deal with these other threats if we don't want to. If we can get rid of the Goblin King and get out the portal, that's all we need to do. Unfortunately, of course, when the portal comes out, it's actually also doing 1 spirit damage to us each turn as well. So we're a little bit behind the curve because we gained this last turn. So I really should be down 1 more spirit. So we're down to 9. Alright, so we've used to draw another card. We've tilted, and we are going to play the cold to stop as much threat coming through. We're still going to take 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 4 more threat, and we are down to 5. We are cutting it very close now. Will we make it? Alright, we're going to rate our cards. Hope this isn't too choppy. I keep having to leave Tabletopia and come back in. Whenever cards are not working properly, for example, like I was able to flip this card, you gotta leave, back to the lobby, and then re-enter the room. The room stays open as long as you don't choose to close the room, so it keeps your save points, but it kind of unlocks all these freezes that sometimes happen in the game. Let's find out what this next threat's going to be. Another Mystic. It has 4 influence to deal with, but it's going to do 2 spirit damage every turn. Oh boy, we are really in trouble. And its mystical ability when played to look for more keys, we don't need to worry about, because there are no more keys. Alright, this turn, let's hope we get a good memory. A Memory of Might. That might be enough. Right now this is sitting at 4. If we were to move it up to here, that would be 5. Playing this would give us 6. That would kill the Goblin King. We have to do it, folks. Here's what's going to happen. We are going to play our Memory of Knowledge. Swap 2 actions on the action power track. Alright, so we play the card. And we are going to swap Fight with Influence. The fight's now at a natural 3, plus 2 power is 5. We are now going to play our Memory of Might to get it to 6. So we played our Memory of Might, that gets us up to 6. Once we use the card and spend the token, so it's 3, 4, 5. Memory card makes 6. That, my friends, is enough to defeat the Goblin King. When you defeat the Goblin King, a couple things are going to happen. First, you're going to heal 1 spirit. Secondly, you get the Bloodline ability. When you defeat him, gain 2 power tokens. So, if you were to defeat a Goblin King, we heal up first, which is very important, 6 health, and we immediately get 2 power tokens. Let's place them both on Explore. Do we have any cards that still do an additional action? We do. The Key of Light. This key, we need this key. This key is saving us. We are going to tilt it to use an available action. And now we can use a second use. Remember the portal. The portal's power is equal to the Explore value of the vignette, which is 3. We need 3 Explore. And with the 1 base, plus those 2 power tokens we just earned from the Goblin King, and with the fact that we have tilted the Key of Light, which lets us do a second use action, we will Explore and spend the 2 power tokens to explore the portal, and that sends us home. We have done it. We have managed to gather the 5 keys. We managed to go through the portal back to where we came from, and with those 5 keys, we are hoping to now bring light and life back to our world. Alright folks, that's it. That is Veilwraith. We had a lucky win there. We were down to 6 spirit. For a while there I felt like we were on top of the world, and then things started to crumble. And as I say, it really comes down to how you manage this threat deck. These threats in play. They can quickly overwhelm you. In fact, if we had not been able to pull off some of those things in the last round, we would be cutting it very close. We may have almost died. There would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if the Goblin King. So if the Goblin King had stayed standing, we in fact would have lost at the end of this round. So things were very, very tight for us there for a moment. This also, I should mention, is only the first vignette in the game. There are 5 vignettes to make up a basic campaign, and each of them progress in difficulty. And there's an expansion which adds, I think, 15 more vignettes. And it's very enjoyable. You can string these together and make a campaign where you only have like 3 lives, or what they call ribbons, to get through a campaign. Every time you lose a ribbon, then you can restart that same vignette, and if you can't get through all 5 vignettes without losing your 3 ribbons, you would lose. This is just a single playthrough of a single vignette, which you can just do as well. You can play any vignette you want, out of order. There's just certain leveling rules, because what's going to happen now is once you've played through a vignette, if you're going to play it in a 5 vignette campaign, you can actually slowly increase some things. You can increase some of the memory cards, I believe, and you can also strengthen these ability track cards. So it really gives you some kind of freedom to kind of experiment and tweak your playstyle a little bit, and kind of boost your power and change some things up as you kind of experience harder and harder threats. I really hope you enjoyed watching through this. I appreciate you sticking through this 2-part series, and I look forward to playing more games with you at a later time. Alright, buddy, take care.